What happens if you drink coffee every day on an empty stomach? Think about it for a second. You wake up. You're still sleepy, your eyes barely open, and before doing anything else, before eating, before drinking water, before looking out the window, you go straight to the kitchen and turn on the coffee maker. It's automatic. It's comforting. It's the most normal ritual in the world. But what if this habit that you repeat every day for years is doing something inside your body that you've never stopped to question? Coffee isn't the villain in this story, but the moment you drink that cup, that changes everything. Stay with me until the end of this video, because what you're going to learn here can change something small in your routine. And the impact of that change is bigger than you imagine. By the end of this video, you will understand the biological mechanism behind this habit, the 3 most common mistakes most people make with coffee, what science really recommends, and the invisible saboteurs that destroy all the benefits of this extraordinary beverage. Let's go. According to the National Coffee Association of the United States, more than 150 million Americans drink coffee every day, and the vast majority drink their first cup as soon as they wake up before any meal. At the same time, the CDC points out that more than 96 million Americans live with prediabetes, and almost 80% of these people don't know they have the condition. These 2 numbers together tell an important story. Think about the person watching this video right now. Maybe someone who is 55 or 60 years old. They wake up every day at 6:30 a.m., go straight to the coffee maker, and drink a large cup of black coffee before anything else. They've been doing this for 30 years. They've never questioned it because they've never had a reason to. This person isn't intentionally doing anything wrong, but their body is responding to this habit in a way they probably never imagined. And that's exactly what science helps us understand. It all starts with 2 main characters, cortisol and caffeine. Think of cortisol as your body's internal energy manager. It's produced by the adrenal glands, 2 small structures that sit atop your kidneys, and its job is to prepare your body to face the day. Every day, between 6 and 8 a.m., your body undergoes a phenomenon called the cortisol awakening response, a natural and intentional increase in cortisol levels upon waking. This peak exists to mobilize energy. Cortisol signals the liver to release glucose into the bloodstream so that you have fuel available even before eating. It's an elegant system that has existed for thousands of years. The problem starts when you add caffeine to that equation first thing in the morning. Caffeine acts as a cortisol amplifier. It further stimulates the adrenal glands, which respond by increasing the production of cortisol and adrenaline. The result? The liver releases more glucose into the bloodstream at a time when you haven't eaten anything and your body technically doesn't need more fuel. Imagine a power plant. At night, while you sleep, it operates in economy mode. In the morning, it starts preparing for the day and turns on some generators. That's cortisol doing its job. But when you drink coffee on an empty stomach, it's like pressing the emergency button on that power plant before the systems are ready. All the generators turn on at the same time. The energy produced has nowhere to go yet. Because you haven't eaten, you're not moving, and the plant becomes overloaded. In the body, this overload translates into elevated glucose and high cortisol levels for longer than necessary. A study published in the British Journal of Nutrition by the Centre for Nutrition, Exercise and Metabolism at the University of Bath, UK, analyzed exactly this effect in 29 healthy adults. Researchers tested 3 different conditions: normal sleep, fragmented sleep, and fragmented sleep with strong coffee before breakfast. The result was clear. Strong black coffee consumed before breakfast increased the glycemic response to the subsequent breakfast by approximately 50%. The researchers concluded that it may be better to consume coffee after breakfast rather than before. Another important fact: although population studies show that habitual coffee consumption is associated with long-term metabolic health benefits, previous research has also documented that caffeine has the potential to cause acute insulin resistance, especially when consumed on an empty stomach. In other words, the same coffee that can be your ally in the long term may be harming you in the short term, depending on when and how you consume it. And here's the part most people don't realize. This isn't just happening to people with certain health conditions. It's happening to healthy adults too. The difference is that in healthy people, the body can compensate, but the effort is still there. This is more serious than it seemed, isn't it? Now that you understand the mechanism, I'm going to show you the 3 most common mistakes people make with coffee, and which are amplifying these effects without them realizing it. Mistake number 1, drinking coffee first thing in the morning before any other food. This is the most common mistake and, as we have seen, the one that most impacts morning metabolism. Imagine a 58-year-old woman, let's call her Carolina. She wakes up at 6:30 every day, goes straight to the coffee maker, drinks a large cup of strong black coffee while reading the news on her cell phone. She only eats around 8:30 when she arrives at work. During those 2 hours, Carol's body is dealing with elevated cortisol, activated adrenaline, and glucose circulating in her blood without any nutrients to balance the situation. She doesn't feel anything wrong. Sometimes she even feels that initial energy boost that coffee gives. But what's happening metabolically is unnecessary stress on the system. The University of Bath study I cited showed that this pattern, coffee before eating, increased the glycemic response of the subsequent breakfast by up to 50% compared to when participants did not drink coffee on an empty stomach. In other words, the problem isn't just the coffee on an empty stomach itself. It's that it sets the stage for an even greater glucose spike at the first meal of the day. Mistake number 2, adding sugar or artificial sweetener to coffee. This mistake may seem small, but it cancels out a large part of the benefits that coffee could offer. Pure coffee contains bioactive compounds called chlorogenic acid and trigonelline, which have documented properties of modulating glucose absorption in the intestine. When you add sugar, whether refined, brown, honey, or any other form, it creates an immediate glycemic spike that neutralizes these compounds. A study published in January 2025 in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, conducted by the Department of Nutrition at the Harvard School of Public Health and Brigham and Women's Hospital, analyzed data from 3 large American population groups: the Nurses' Health Study, the Nurses' Health Study 2, and the Health Professionals Follow-Up Study, totaling more than 150,000 participants followed for decades. The conclusion was that consuming pure coffee was associated with an approximately 10% reduction in the risk of type 2 diabetes per additional cup per day. But when coffee was consumed with sugar, this protective association decreased significantly. And what about artificial sweeteners? Many people think they are the perfect solution. But a randomized, controlled clinical trial published in the journal Cell in September 2022, conducted by the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel with 120 healthy adults, found that 2 specific sweeteners, saccharin and sucralose, significantly altered the composition of the gut microbiota and impaired glucose tolerance in participants. Importantly, the study tested 4 sweeteners and found that aspartame and stevia showed neutral effects on glucose tolerance in this group. But saccharin and sucralose showed a real and measurable impact. In other words, if you use artificial sweeteners, the type you choose matters, and science is still figuring out these differences. Mistake number 3, drinking coffee late in the afternoon or at night. This is the mistake that most people underestimate because the effects aren't immediate. They appear hours later when you're trying to sleep. Caffeine has an average half-life of 5 to 6 hours in the body. This means that if you drink coffee at 3 p.m., half of the caffeine is still active in your system at 8 p.m. And caffeine not only keeps you awake, it keeps cortisol levels elevated and interferes with the deeper stages of sleep. A study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine in 2013, conducted by researcher Christopher Drake and his team, analyzed the impact of caffeine consumed at different times and concluded that even coffee consumed up to 6 hours before bedtime reduced total sleep time by more than an hour, without participants consciously noticing the difference. And here's the metabolic connection most people don't make. Poor sleep quality is directly linked to insulin resistance. Research published in Diabetes Care showed that just a few days of insufficient or fragmented sleep can significantly reduce insulin sensitivity, creating a silent cycle where afternoon coffee impairs sleep, which in turn impairs glucose metabolism the following morning. Before I show you what science really recommends, the right time, the right way, and the combinations that maximize the benefits of coffee, let me make a quick request. If you've made it this far and learned something you didn't know, consider giving this video a like. It seems like a small gesture, but it greatly helps to get this content to other people who can benefit from this information. And if you're not already subscribed to the channel, now is a great time. Every week I bring you a new health topic, always based on real research, always in simple language. The good news is that the adjustments are simple, cost nothing, and have solid scientific backing. Step number 1. Wait 60 to 90 minutes before drinking your first coffee. This is the adjustment with the greatest impact and least effort. When you wake up, the morning cortisol peak is already happening naturally. If you wait 60 to 90 minutes before drinking coffee, you allow this peak to rise, reach its maximum, and begin to fall, before adding caffeine. The result is that caffeine acts at a time when cortisol is already declining, maximizing the stimulating effect of coffee without creating the hormonal overload we saw earlier. Imagine applying this adjustment for 30 days. You wake up, drink a glass of water, use that time for a short walk or breakfast, and only then have your coffee. Research on circadian rhythm and cortisol regulation suggests that this pattern is associated with more sustained alertness throughout the day and less reliance on additional doses of caffeine to maintain focus. Action number 2, eat something with protein before breakfast. This is the recommendation that seems most counterintuitive to those accustomed to drinking coffee on an empty stomach, but it makes organic sense. When you consume protein before breakfast, even something small like an egg, a slice of cheese, or plain unsweetened yogurt, the amino acids enter the bloodstream and help modulate the response of the system that controls cortisol production. The University of Bath study we cited recommends exactly that, consuming some food before breakfast to reduce the impact on the glycemic response. It doesn't have to be an elaborate breakfast. The goal is simply to avoid having coffee as the first thing you consume. Action number 3, drink pure coffee without any additives. Pure coffee, especially filtered coffee, 100% Arabica, without sugar or sweeteners, preserves all the bioactive compounds that research associates with metabolic benefits. The 2025 Harvard study I cited was very clear. It is coffee without additives that is associated with a reduced risk of diabetes. Adding sugar compromises this effect. If you can't drink completely pure coffee, available research suggests that cinnamon powder is an addition that doesn't cancel out those effects, and may even have complementary benefits. A review published in the journal Nutrients analyzed studies on cinnamon and glucose metabolism and found that regular consumption may contribute to modest reductions in fasting glucose levels in some people. It's not a cure, but it's an ally with no documented negative effects. Action number 4, establish a cutoff time for coffee. Based on caffeine's half-life of 5 to 6 hours, most research on sleep quality recommends avoiding caffeine after 2 p.m., or at least 6 hours before your usual bedtime. The Drake study I cited proved that this window makes a real difference in sleep quality. And quality sleep, as we've seen, is one of the cornerstones of healthy glucose metabolism. Even if you apply everything I've just described, there are 4 saboteurs that can silently negate these benefits. Saboteur number 1, industrially produced instant coffee. Those instant coffee with milk sachets usually contain added sugar and a much lower concentration of chlorogenic acid than natural brewed coffee. If you want the metabolic benefits of coffee, the industrialized version often doesn't deliver the same compounds. Saboteur number 2, the wrong accompaniment, white bread, filled cookies, boxed cake mix. When you combine coffee with ultra-processed foods rich in refined carbohydrates, the glucose spike caused by these foods is so high that no amount of chlorogenic acid can compensate. The coffee becomes a spectator while the accompaniment does the damage. Saboteur number 3. Unmanaged chronic stress. Cortisol doesn't just rise because of coffee. Chronic stress, poor sleep, and anxiety keep cortisol chronically elevated. If your cortisol is already high all day, any cup of coffee will amplify that state. Coffee becomes the last matchstick in a house of cards that was already unstable. Saboteur number 4. Excessive quantity. Studies associate metabolic benefits with consuming 2 to 4 cups a day. Above that, the effects tend to reverse. More cortisol, more impact on sleep, more dependence. More isn't always better, and coffee is a clear example of that. So what happens if you drink coffee every day on an empty stomach? Your body responds with a hormonal cascade that raises cortisol, intensifies glucose production by the liver, and puts your metabolic system on high alert, even before you've eaten anything. On its own, in isolation, this isn't a catastrophe, but repeated every day, for years, in combination with poor sleep, a sedentary lifestyle, and a poor diet, it contributes to a condition that millions of people are developing without realizing it. The good news is that coffee itself isn't the problem. In fact, it's one of the most studied beverages in the world, with robust positive associations for metabolic health when consumed in the right way. The takeaway from this video is this: it's not what you do, it's when and how you do it. Waiting 60 minutes, eating something with protein beforehand, drinking it straight, stopping at 2 p.m., it might seem trivial. But science repeatedly shows that it's the small, consistent habits that move the needle of health over time. Before I wrap up, I need to say something important. Everything I've shared here is based on published research, but your body is unique. If you have diabetes, prediabetes, hypertension, or any other health condition, talk to your doctor before making any changes. This channel exists to help you understand the science, not to replace medical care. Use this information to have better conversations with your healthcare team. In the next video, I'll answer a question I get every week. What happens if you stop eating sugar for 30 days? Researchers who studied this topic found surprising results, some expected, others that contradict everything you've ever heard about sugar. Turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Until then, take good care of your body. It's working for you all the time.